All right, I wanted to talk about the Detroit Lions. Let's set the stage. Where do they need to go from here? It's officially a post-Matt Stafford world. Last year was, that still was the Matt Stafford trade thing. So this is really when the rebuild starts. You do have an extra first-round pick, albeit the 32nd overall pick because the Rams won the Super Bowl. But still, they're in an interesting spot. And if you are of the belief that a bowl is most useful when it is empty, then this means that the Lions might actually be in a good situation because they actually do, have a lot of just ways they can improve, which I guess is, kind of a nice way of saying that you suck. But listen, sometimes it's better to suck than it is to be mediocre, which is kind of the whole appeal of the Stafford trade in the first place. So, yeah, let's just get into how much cap space they have and who are some free agents they might want to re-sign. Okay, so here we go. Lions cap space at the top. They have $23 million currently, and the number I have next to all of these guys, that's how much I'm projecting them to get in free agency, either how much I'm projecting or Sports Track had some projections. If they had it for those guys, I just used their projection, and if they didn't, then I used my own. And there's no big guy that they have to sign right here. There's a couple players that I probably would want to re-sign. Like I think the two clear guys would be, Charles Harris, it'd be nice to keep him. I think Tracy Walker they should keep for sure. And then some other like decent pieces that you definitely could try and keep if you want to, like Jalen Reeves, Maben. I think that would be nice. So, Nick Williams would be nice to keep. So they have some guys that I think that you could keep, but no one here is a household name by any means. Also kind of at the bottom, Josh Reynolds, Kaif Raymond, and Tim Boyle here are just, those are guys that are, you could consider keeping if you wanted to. I don't think that they need to necessarily, but if you let them walk, you're going to have to replace them with somebody. So if they re-signed everybody on this list, they would need $39 million, meaning they'd have to clear $16 million. And some people might be sitting here and saying, whoa, wait a second. I mean, you would have to clear all this money if if you're the Lions, when you don't have that much talent to begin with. How are they in such a bad cap situation? Actually, they're not. This is one of the better cap situations. Keep in mind a couple things. One, every team spends over the cap, basically. Last year, only 2 teams spent under the actual cap in terms of actual money. And the other thing that has to be mentioned is you're paying Jared Goff. So you're still paying, like, star quarterback money to a player who just isn't a star quarterback. So that's also a big reason why. Let's go over here now. These are the guys who you could cut. I'm not saying you want to cut all these guys, just that you could consider doing it if you wanted to sign a free agent. These are the guys that you could cut and what you would get if you did cut them. So for someone like, Trey Flowers, he would get, that would get you $10 million, who Trey Flowers, really good player, of course, but didn't have the best year last year, and kind of makes you wonder a little bit of, could it be an age thing perhaps? It's possible. I don't know. Jamal Williams, Will Harris, and Amani Awuriye would all clear up a little bit of money, but that's those are guys that are, again, not saying I would cut these guys, just that you could if you wanted to. Worth mentioning, if you cut Jared Goff, you would basically save nothing. But if you traded him, you would save $16 million. The other team would have to pay that $16 million that you traded to. So that's interesting, and that's something that you could consider doing. And in fact, if you trade after June 1st, you would save $26 million, although again, the other team would have to pay for it. So what's going to happen, I would think, if for Jared Goff, is you keep him this year, but then next year, you can basically get rid of him for very little dead money. If you cut him next year, you'd only have $10 million in dead money, whereas this year it'd be $30.5 million in dead money. So that's probably the way that they'll go with that contract. Also, looking over here, so this is where they ranked in every single PFF grade in terms of each positional category. I know PFF is not the Bible, but listen, it's a tool we can use and kind of a baseline we can look at. And there's a lot of rough numbers, right? Passing 25th. Offensive line was solid. That's definitely the bright spot of this team, and they've tried to build through the lines, and at least in terms of offense, it is working out so far. Receiving game needs work, but maybe not as bad as some people think it is, so that could be potentially a start. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown really had that was a great thing that happened, and that's what you hope for when you're in a rebuild, is you get some stuff like that. You get an Amon-Ra St. Brown to step up. You now have a good player, someone you can help build around. You have TJ Hawkinson, who goes in that receiving category because, you know, he runs a lot of routes. So that can definitely help you as well. So you got some tools, but you want to continue to build. You want to continue to, especially if you let Reynolds and Raymond walk, you got to find some more talent there. The running game wasn't anything spectacular, but that's fine. You don't need to have a spectacular running game if you have a good line, which they do. And then the run defense, not great. Pass rush, also not great, according to PFF. And coverage, not great. So defense, they need some massive improvements on, and they also could use some improvements on offense. So, you know, it was the good place quote of all we need is a better offense, defense, and some rule changes. That kind of feels where the Lions are at right now. It's going to be a long rebuild. They're not going to get there immediately, but there are tools for them to start to get there. It probably won't be through free agency this year. I would assume that they would, you know, be just due to all of these tough numbers. Assuming it's not going to be like just through free agency. My guess would be that what the Lions would probably be more willing to do would be, instead of just like try to, you know, sign someone, would be build through the draft for this year. I think next year, maybe that's when you sign a big ticket free agent if you want to, if the opportunity presents itself. But, you know, you got the number 2 overall draft pick. Do you go quarterback there? You could if you wanted to, because that is a position that you'll eventually need to improve upon. Goff isn't a mess, but you'll have to go there eventually. And then obviously, you know, there's always the debate of, do you get the quarterback now and then try to build, or do you try to build and then get the quarterback after you've built a good team? I think there's logic to both of them, but I think that the reality is you got to hit on your draft picks. You traded Matthew Stafford away. Okay, fine. I don't hate that trade. I get the logic behind it. It looks worse now that you've, you know, Stafford has won a Super Bowl, but also Stafford demanded a trade, so that's kind of also an element of it. Kind of, you know, your hands were tied a little bit. So there's that. But, you know, you have this draft capital, you have a plan, now you have to execute it. And the way you execute it is by hitting on your draft picks. And so that's what they're going to have to do, which will be interesting. So it really is going to come down to the draft. That's how they're going to have to build. The free agency aspect isn't going to be too key, but I wouldn't be shocked to see them maybe make some minor moves. Or, like, I've always felt like if you're a team like this, just take some flyers on some guys. Look at some guys and say, yeah, let's give you like a 2-year, $5 million deal that, you know, has zero money guaranteed if you feel like there's someone with potential. And if it doesn't work out, then you just cut them. And if it does work out, well, then you have a good contract for next year when maybe you will try to be competitive. So little things like that might be what the Lions tend to do. So, yeah, that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on the Detroit Lions? Always love hearing from you. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching.